with no further ado, and plenty of time to get through all the amazing stories that are going to come from these amazing women, I introduce you to the gals of the F.A.R.M. The F.A.R.M stands for the Fearless Adventure Riding Maniacs, and I just love your name. It's fantastic. It is an adventure training facility located in Parker, Colorado. And the exciting thing about these ladies is all four of them are heading to Germany on Tuesday. It's coming for the GS Trophy Qualifiers for the international team. And with no further ado, I'd like to introduce all four of them to you. We've got...
Hi, I'm Chris Briggs. I've been riding for about 30 years and started on dirt in 2017, but really started riding dirt in 2022.
And I'm Sherry Burrell. I rode street for about 8 years in my younger adult years. And just 3 years ago, I got back on the motorcycle and started dirt riding.
Awesome.
I'm Stephanie Townsend. I have been riding for 30 years. For the first 10 years, I was strictly a street rider. And then at year 10, I found my real passion, which is off-road riding. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years.
Awesome. Leslie.
And I'm Leslie Martin. I've been riding just about 3 years, started motorcycle riding and dirt all at the same time. While the slide is correct, I'm going to Germany. I'm just going to clarify, I'm not one of the competitors, the other gals. I'm just here as one of the owners of the F.A.R.M. So to support them, but it's really just about their journey to the GS Trophy Qualifiers.
Well, it's also about you too, right? You are integral to this team, the volunteer portion of the GS Trophy, which we can talk about. But they wouldn't be here without you, without your support. It's a grueling couple of days, and having a key head person there is, I'm sure you can tell us more about that. All four of these women do ride large bikes. They're all either on the 1300 or the 1250, so they're all familiar with what's needed for a big bike and slow speed drills. So let's see. Let's just get started. Let's jump right in. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about what is the GS Trophy for those of us who are GS Trophy illiterate?
I'd love to say something about it, but Stephanie is better at this.
Oh, Steph, all right, it's on you.
I'd be happy to share that. So the GS Trophy is a BMW marketing event, which is in the form of a competition, and it's held every other year. The qualifiers for the actual competition are held in the odd years, so this year, and the big event is in the even years. So right now we are training for the International Qualifier, and hopefully next year we'll be headed to the big show in Romania.
I love that. Awesome. So how did you guys get started?
Okay,
Chris?
this one I will chime in on.
Chris, this is all you now.
So I had this dream of, like, I heard about the GS Trophy, I'd seen it a couple of times, and I was like, I think I want to do this. But I didn't feel like I had enough skills or confidence to do it all by myself. So I thought, I'm going to see if I can get someone else to join me. I'd heard that Stephanie may be signing up that particular year, and I knew that she had done it previously. So I reached out to her and said, hey, do you want to just maybe train together and maybe we could do this thing? And thankfully she said, I'll give it a shot. We went out to one place, spent a couple of hours and went, yeah, I think we could probably do this for a little bit.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. And as I understand, Leslie, you were pretty integral to that team when they were there in 2023, isn't that right?
Yeah, I went to South Carolina with them, of course. I mean, in terms of the training piece to get them to the qualifier, I was just there to support them. I think my title is the CCO, which is Chief Comic Relief Officer. And I also make sure they're fed and watered. And, those were long, grueling days out on the farm training. So, just kind of there to support them and, give them whatever they need, to succeed.
Yeah, especially, you make a joke about the chief comic, but there's so much mental going on, right? So just keeping them focused, that's a huge,
There's
huge gift.
they do a lot of, we do a lot of videoing because they like to watch what they're doing and, later kind of study how they did that day and what they did wrong and stuff. And so my narration has been a source of great comedy relief, I think, as I video their training sessions.
I love that. I
Gets
absolutely
them
love
through.
it. Leslie, can you just tell me a little bit? We always think about how everyone goes as a competitor, and we're going to talk about that. Don't get me wrong, but you can also go as a volunteer as well, correct?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into that because, I wanted to go to South Carolina with them. I'm on this journey with them. And, they don't allow people to just watch the competition. There isn't really a space for that. So realized that, the volunteer option was a really good one for me. So I signed up as early as I could and allowed me to be on the course as a volunteer. And, actually, at one of the stations, where they did the challenges. So I got to kind of see them, transiently as they went by, but I did get to work the actual competition, which was great.
Right.
Yeah,
That's super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
Margie's
there's
on
hope
this
for
call.
people who
She was
don't
there
want to
with me.
compete.
Yeah, there was a few of us there, which was, it was a really cool experience to see all the competitors come through. And so that was a fun way to be able to be there with them.
I bet that sounds really cool. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your first competition in 2023?
Yeah, maybe I'll chime in here, because I think there's just a little bit more background as far as me entering the training with Chris and Steph. As Leslie said, we were there. I was also going to be with Leslie supporting these two, Chris and Steph,
Right.
in the first competition, and just keep them fed and watered and all the things. And I actually had a friend, but where I board my horse, that had a property. They were looking for a property to train. And, I said, hey, would you mind if, my friends train out here a little bit? They need dirt. And it also was a horse property with a lot of obstacles for horse competitions. So any of these obstacles that could handle 1,000-pound horse could also handle a 524-pound GS. So brought Chris out for the first look, and she just had this amazing vision, which she can talk a bit about. But we started training, got it set up for training. And the first day out, Steph and Chris made me do some of the things. And I had only ridden dirt one season, and I was terrible. I told them, you're crazy. I'm not going to do this. And they just saw something in me and kept pushing me and encouraging me and said, you are doing this, and brought me into training with them. And that's how I joined the three to train for that first competition. And we trained extensively on this horse property.
I love that. And I love one of the hashtags that I always see with the farm and the training and you guys getting together. Your hashtag is better with friends. And I just love that you see it living in plain truth right there. Come on along. That's awesome. All right. So, you guys all traveled around and you started studying up to see, what do you have to be able to do? What are some of the skills that you're going to need to compete? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a few videos out there. You can see some videos of, different past competitions. Steph certainly had done it before, so she had seen some things before. And so we just started to try to mimic and challenge ourselves through many different obstacles or skills. And then we had, some of our trainers that helped us as well, that would come out and do training with us. But, it was a lot of dedicated training time all summer, that summer before that first qualifier in South Carolina.
Awesome. Awesome. Liv, thank you. So then now, can you tell us a little bit about that first competition in 2023? That was in the United States. So that was a United States team in 2023, correct? And that was at the Performance Center, is that right?
Yes, the Performance Center in South Carolina.
Okay.
And at that year was the year that the most women, this is a US competition, had the team was the largest competitors that had ever been at a qualifier for the US. We had 12 women that competed.
4 from Colorado.
4 from
Oh, it's
Colorado,
awesome.
that's right. Jess was with our Colorado contingent. So you can see all of us there. But, for those of you that don't know details about the competition itself, it's set up to the first day and a half is 20 different elements or challenges. And they're of all different types. They are designed to test every slow speed skill you could think of on a big GS bike. They want to showcase these bikes. They're engineered. They're very advanced machines. So they would set up very tight technical turns, cone weaves, very difficult hill climbs. One was Mount Everest. You had to start at the bottom of the hill, and it was a long hill climb with no run up. You just had to jump on, throttle up, and as soon as you crested the hill, make a 90-degree left turn and not hit a cone at the top. They had very, complicated rock elements. The Australian Terror was truly, people still talk about that today. Short, steep hill that we saw a lot of crashes on, that no run up, go up the hill, make a sharp turn, get into some gnarly rocks and have to make another sharp turn to get out. So they really intentionally push you to the limits in this competition to, see what points score, who comes out to be able to qualify for the semifinals and then get to the finals.
Right. And it's not just, not only do you have to be able to ride all these technical challenges, right? There's also a little bit of maintenance pieces, some navigation pieces. We were kind of joking about before when we were getting ready for this, like, you really need to know your motorcycle owner's manual kind of inside and out, page by page, right? They'll kind of quiz you on that stuff. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. They don't tell you what to expect, but you could come in and they can say, you need to take the front tire off and choose the tools that you need to do that and reinstall it, and make sure it's safe to ride.
Right. So, really that kind of all around motorcycle person,
Absolutely.
not just a brilliant rider, right?
Absolutely.
It's interesting because I know Jocelyn was commentating on the 2023 competition, and she was saying how, this is getting harder and harder every year. And we were talking about how the bikes, the software, things are changing, and these bikes are getting better and better. And this competition continues to kind of step it up every year. So it's really cool to see how far it's come just in the last few years. It is super awesome. And it's clear that you guys are going to need to spend some time, and we're going to talk about your commitment and training to get ready for this, to get ready for it. So
And I would just jump in and say that not only is it the bikes, but it's also the growth in this sport. As more and more people get involved, just the skill set of the sport has really come up overall. It's amazing to watch.
Right, because this will be your third competition, right, Steph?
Oh gosh, yeah, third time's a charm. Keeping my
Absolutely.
Here.
No, I don't know. I heard you're going to Romania, so maybe you're gonna have war. You already admitted to it. But I'm sure you see, right? You've seen how the elements have really every year, like they just get bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Just from the 2021 qualifier to the 2023 was a huge increase in complexity and difficulty.
Yeah.
The 2021 qualifier was actually easy in comparison, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to be fair, you have to think about how much dedication you put into that 2021 qualifier as opposed to what you're about to do now.
Yeah. Right. Well,
We can talk about.
Yeah, you keep picking up your game as too, right?
Well, I think I put in about 5 minutes of training for the 2021 qualifier. I just pretty much showed up.
You signed the waiver and just hopped on.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Well, since you guys last competed, you've also been a little busy, haven't you? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since you competed in 2023?
Very busy. Well, I'll tell you how we how the farm came about, but I'm gonna throw it to Chris because her vision and what we're doing now is just an amazing story. But as we were starting our trip to South Carolina for the last competition, my friend called me and said, my husband and I have found our dream property 3 miles down the road. We're buying that and we need to sell this property. And this is a almost 6-acre horse property. And we'd like to offer it to you and Leslie first. We've been friends for years. And so it's like, oh my gosh, we just love this property. It's amazing. We tried to figure out every way to, get it. But, 5 acres of horse property is expensive. And we just happened to mention it to Chris. And she's like, oh, we're making this happen. We're going in. And then, Steph, that we are making this happen. And so we made it happen. And then Chris, I'll let you kind of talk about turning it into the farm.
Chris is the visionary.
Well, every time I went out there, when we were using it for the 1 acre that we were allowed to use, I just felt at peace. And it was just an amazing feeling. It had great energy. The first time that Leslie took me out there, the grass was like up to my neck, basically. And I just went, oh my gosh, I love this place. Anyway, so fast forward, they mentioned that maybe we should get this. And I say, yes, we should. I wanted to make it an accessible property for people to do slow speed skills safely. You didn't have anybody whizzing past you. You didn't have to worry about anybody flying over your head. We knew that we wanted to make something that was community minded, not just for women, but for men as well. There's a lot of men getting into this sport at an older age and not really knowing where to start. We just built some more obstacles and just kept going. I don't know. I think I'll talk about it more on the next slide, but I reached out to a couple of trainers, the ones that we really respect, ones that have either we've used before or they're really well known in the community. So I reached out to them with an email and said, hey, we've got this property. If you're interested in doing training, back out to me. I had an overwhelming response. Like everyone was like, what? 6 acres and obstacles and slow speed and we can actually train there. And as soon as they said yes, I went, oh my goodness, we've got something here. So I had to set up the website and our contracts and everything else. And it was born from there. And we love it. We absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people who have been there love it too. They rave about your bathrooms, by the way. They love your bathrooms. So good job.
Maybe the shower, not the bathroom.
Well, yeah,
shower,
shower, but I guess
It's the shower.
luxury. They're pretty excited about it.
That was another one of my visions. It was actually, I have to brag about that one. It was originally a shed for little ponies, and scraped it all out, scrubbed it out, and made it a really nice shower.
That's what I heard. So
it was my passion.
Come and check it out. So, let's see. So a little bit more just about the farm and what, I think one of the reasons that we love you guys so much is that it reflects the same kind of vision, the giving back into this ADV community that we all love so much. So tell us a little bit more about what's going on. You said that you have some of the trainers there and some of the bike rentals that you have there.
Yeah, so we don't actually rent bikes from our property, but we do partner up with Colorado Motorcycle Adventures. And so if people are coming from out of state or they're just sort of new and they don't have their own bike, they can go to Colorado Motorcycle Adventures and rent a bike from them, come out to the farm and train, which is fantastic. And again, it's just coming back to that community spirit. Some of the trainers that we've been so fortunate that we've got a really good grounding based in Colorado. So we've got Candy Spangler, who's a huge supporter of ours, also based in Colorado. We have Dusty Wessels, who was my very first trainer in 2017. And he's been a huge supporter throughout. The list of names is there. It's probably not all of them, but generally most of them. Chris Birch came from... Oh, yes, Shell, of course. Shell, yeah. I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, she's there.
Put them on. Great. Shell Wilson actually lived on site for quite some time and was integral for when we had those one-on-ones. People would call us and say, hey, can I have a private lesson? And Shell would say, I'm here. Yep, use me. This is great. And she would also do group classes. So, you know, we just had so many great trainers out here, and we love having everybody come.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, none of you are trainers, and that's one of the things about coming to the competition, that none of you are professional. You're all amateur riders.
Yeah.
You know.
All we do is we own the farm, we own the property, and we allow other people to access it.
That is so awesome.
That's all it is. So as part of the community, I wanted to talk about the involvement that we have with other partners. So Revit, they have their only worldwide store, brick and mortar store in the world, is based in Denver. And they're fantastic to deal with. You can go in there and shop and do everything else, but they do presentations I think once every month, and they also do rides, and they asked us to lead a ride this year, so we did that. We're also members of the Colorado GS Girls. Woohoo! So you don't have to be a girl, you don't have to ride a GS, you just have to be passionate. And we've got loads of passion, but we want everyone else to jump on that as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about our community. If anyone else wants to jump in.
That is so awesome. You know, one of the things that I'm looking at the slide that I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit is you said that BMW of Denver is helping you with your bikes. But again, we talked about you guys are all amateurs, and the commitment that you have to going to this event, like this is out of your pocket, right? You know, this is something that, you know, nobody's paying you to go. Nobody's supporting you. Yeah. And you know, Chris, this is a very curious community. They want to know how much, really, roughly, how much are you guys spending to enter that competition, plus airfare?
So it's one of those things, if you have to ask, you really shouldn't.
Pretty bad.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
It goes to show you, like, the level of commitment that you guys have going here. You know, it's you know, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. And you guys, you know, I guess I just want to kind of reiterate that. It's like nobody's paying for you guys to go. This is your own heart and love and just desire to do this that's bringing you there. But I know you said that BMW of Denver does kind of help you with your maintenance on your bikes. Just, you know, you guys bring them to them and they look them over for you and have been helping to take care of you to get ready to go.
They're fantastic. They prioritize our bikes.
That's got to be at the back of your... Well, when you get there, though, you don't bring your bikes. You use BMW's bikes. Is that correct? Yeah.
Right. We rent them in Germany, but we do everything on our bikes. And believe me, we have had to call, you know, Tara and the BMW crew at Denver BMW. And it's like, I just broke something. And it's like, get it in here in the morning. You know, so they know the criticality of our training regimen, and that our bikes being able to do that on a day-to-day basis. They've been fantastic with us and really support us, you know, with getting, that's where it starts chinging, really. That's, you know, the maintenance of it. But yeah, I mean, expense wise, it's a commitment. It's a commitment in training, time, money. But we love it. We love it. We love the sport. We're willing to commit that. So, you know, that's where we are.
And we're not getting any younger, so
right,
we want to do it.
right. So just say yes.
Speak for
right?
yourself.
So roughly, honestly, like when you've got to commit your financial, you're also committing, your diet, nutrition, what are you guys doing for that as far as like your physicality to get ready for this?
Yeah,
I
well,
know.
a lot of the physicality is training on the bike, but flexibility, strengthening, a good diet. For me, I have a very high metabolism. I've had to increase my calorie intake. Hydration, for me. So that's where I'm at. Chris and Steph can speak to theirs.
Chris and Sherry are much better at like adding a lot of outside training, and I kind of hate exercise, quite honestly. I think it shows, but a lot of my training is really, part of what I do on the bike. So, when I'm out there, especially if I'm training by myself on the farm and I drop my bike, I pick it up myself. And on a day when I'm really pushing myself, I might pick up my bike a dozen times.
Which is the skill that you're going to need to have for the competition, right? Because
absolutely.
Does anybody help you pick up your bike at that competition?
They do not. No.
So, about how many hours a week do each one of you kind of put into riding and trying to get ready? Do you have like a set schedule, or it's just grab it when you can?
It sort of varies. We all have day jobs, so we take advantage of whatever time we have. We do dedicate, like, okay, every Wednesday we're going to be there from this time to this time. Sometimes it goes over, sometimes it's shorter. Definitely weekends, they're really long days, and we do try to get off the farm to spend more time in the real world, because real world riding is really some of the elements we're going to get.
Yeah, well, I've seen that you guys have been coming off the farm, and the camera just never does it justice for how steep and gnarly it is. But I can hear those engines going. You guys are doing absolutely amazing out there. I guess so many of us are like, gosh, could I do it? How many hours roughly? I can't even imagine how many hours you've put in. Hundreds.
I mean, it's true. We do end up training 4, 5, sometimes 6 days a week, and it's usually at least 2-hour sessions.
Yeah.
Rarely.
I would say we're putting in at least 20 hours a week on the bikes.
But that being said, we only decided to do this 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
So, so it might sound like, wow, you're doing so much, but it's really so much in a really short amount of time. So if anyone's thinking about, oh, I wonder if I could do this, yes, you can. I've come off Achilles surgery, and I was not on the bike for the past year. My first real ride was probably where I could actually wear boots was 8 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And 6 weeks ago, we decided to do this. So anyone can do it. It's mind over matter. And obviously better with friends.
Yeah.
I think that's a really key point. I mean, I made that mistake the first go around. I didn't really reach out to anybody, and I didn't invest any time. And this last go around was hugely different. I mean, you really need to have a community around you to support you, not only the people that you're training with, but, previous competitors. We talked to people who've done this before. Candy, of course, and all the arsenal of trainers that we worked with. We have a huge number of people who have really invested their time with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, I love one of the things that we talk about. Like, you guys are all different shapes and sizes and different ages. And, I love the thing that you say about, anyone can do this. It's really, putting in the time, the practice, the commitment. I know, Chris, you were saying that you've been doing a lot of strength training, right?
Yeah, I am probably hitting my personal gym 3, maybe 4 times a week. I'd love to do more, but I just don't have enough calories for it. And then when I'm riding as well, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. And so I know, Chris, you had talked a little bit about the limitation that you have because you had the Achilles surgery done. What else? What other kind of physical things do you guys have to like work around to, nobody's got a perfect body. What are you guys working with and around?
Yes, I can speak to that. None of us are spring chickens. And speaking for myself, I have, several orthopedic injuries. I've had 5 surgeries on one of my shoulders. And so there are certain limitations that I have. It's on the slide, but one of the techniques that Candy teaches on a very tight, lean turn is drawing the bow. Well, my shoulder cannot draw the bow on one side. So I have to make modifications. I have to shift my body weight differently around the bike in order to make that turn and make sure that I'm not too heavy on the bars. So, from a physical perspective, I think one thing that women can get caught up in is, oh, I have this injury. I have a bad back. I have a bad hip. I have a bad knee. I can tell you, I have a bad every one of those. But if this is something you want to do, you can make modifications. If your commitment to it is to work through those injuries and do the things that you need to from a rehab perspective, and when you work with different trainers and you say, hey, I can't do it like that. Can you help me figure out a different way? And that's how you overcome it. And I'm very, pleased with my riding in spite of my limitations. And, it's just that continuous effort that we all have to make. We all have different limitations, and we figure out ways to get around it.
Yeah. Steph, is there anything specific that you're dealing with that you have to work around, or that, something that you have to watch out for as you're training and getting ready?
Well, yeah, I have, I'm pretty sensitive to heat now. I've suffered like a marginal heat stroke. And so I have to be really careful when I'm in the heat. And I'm glad that this qualifier is going to be in October in Germany, so that won't be an issue.
Yeah.
Chris and I also have the added difficulty of being, unfortunately, short. So, and there's lots of workarounds. We all know, we've seen Jocelyn's videos and Candy's videos, and there's pretty much a workaround for everything. You might have to work a little harder to get there, but it's totally doable. And I think, as Sherry mentioned, we're all kind of in the hot flash age range. so none of us are spring chickens, like she said. But if you keep at it, I think this is a sport that's really accessible to all women.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So of course, women are going to want to know, Stephanie, how tall are you?
I am 5'3".
Okay. And Chris, how tall are you?
On a great day, 5'3".
5'3". Sherry, you're taller, right? 5'7", 5'8".
Right. I am. I'm almost 5'8" with long legs.
And Leslie, how tall are you?
Like 5'8".
Okay. All right. Yeah. So,
I can be pretty
little legs.
flat-footed even on those big bikes.
So, I know we talked a lot about, the mental aspects of it, and having Leslie there to kind of help you out. And of course, you always have that better with friends hashtag. How is it, you go in as your supporters and friends, but you're also competitors, right? How do you deal with that? Like, what's your mindset around that?
That's easy. These two may or may not join me on the podium.
Cutthroat. I'll tell you what, it's cutthroat.
Well said.
I mean, the day, it's the way it's set up. It's not a race, so each person can compete separately. So it's not as if we are like swapping elbows or anything while we're riding. And even though we're supporting each other, of course, we all would like to be number one at the end of the day, right? But it's not the overriding thing. At the end of the day, it's the experience that really counts.
Right. I know that you guys are, one of the reasons that we wanted to have you here is because it's so inspiring. And I don't mean it as it's taking ordinary people doing these spectacular superhero things. It's really awesome to see you guys out there. And I know you're inspiring me, and you're inspiring so many other women that are like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I know, Sherry, when you said you went your last competition, you were just like, I'm just going to show up. And you did amazing.
Yeah, I mean, going back to, I'm very much a beginner dirt rider when we started, this training journey 2 years ago. And I was a scared dirt rider. But I have been an athlete, in my past. And so with training, and I started to gain skills. By the time I got to the competition, I just took it as, hey, I'm just going to do the best I can at every single element. If I do well, great. If I don't, I'm going to shrug it off and I'm just going to go to the next element. And I had zero expectation that I would make it any, past the day and a half of just the 20 elements. I didn't think I'd make it to the semifinals or finals. And at the end of the day and a half, as it turned out, I ended up being in first place going into the semifinals. And I was absolutely shocked. But I think that, it was a combination of skills, but calmness and just taking that mental, aspect of do the best you can at every single opportunity and then move on. And then, as far as getting, through the semifinals, I'm lucky enough to make it to the finals. And so Steph, she can tell her story, made it to the finals. And of course, in the finals, Jess, who's a member of this group, she ended up in second place and I ended up in third place. If you would have seen me riding in June of that year prior to that competition, you would have said that girl would never, never be able to do this. So it's possible. You can start from ground zero and you can do this.
Right. So you guys, we touched on this earlier, but you really only decided to go back to Germany just 5 weeks ago. That is a really, really short time frame. So it's impressive that you guys are just pulling it all together so quickly. But again, it's about this, ADV as a sport. It's not only a sport, yeah, there is this trophy part, but, it's also about the community. But I also want to encourage everyone to drop your questions in the chat because we are going to have a few minutes and there is some questions about obstacles. I know there's a few there, but if you ladies want to just drop your questions in the chat, we'll certainly ask these ladies the questions. But I love like your philosophy about, life is short and just say yes, right? Just say yes, even if you're scared. Just say yes and go anyway. I call it my yes era. Just say yes. I'm in my yes era. There's a couple questions that we've gotten about the obstacles. One, do you know what obstacles you're going to, when you get there, do you know ahead of time what obstacles you're going to run into?
You do not. So there is a huge gamut of skill sets that you could be presented with to test. And I would say that the GS Trophy is kind of like trials on a big bike. You do a lot of slow speed technical riding. So there's some things that are like definitely going to be at every qualifier. The garage is a big one. That's at every single qualifier. And if you don't know what that is, it's a series of U-turns left and right that get progressively tighter in a very short area. So if you don't set yourself up properly at the beginning, you will blow the whole rest of the challenge. So that's kind of a known element. And then there's some of the things that people refer to as maybe like circus type tricks, but like moving the tennis ball from cone to cone, the merry-go-round where you move a pole in a circular fashion where you're riding one-handed. But a lot of it is especially in this past qualifier that we went to, is real world skills. So we did water crossings, we did a lot of hill climbs, sand, gravel, rocks, all stuff that you would come across in actual adventure riding.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are asking what is the hardest obstacle that you guys ran into at the 2023? What was the hardest thing like for each one of you? Which obstacle really like gives you a little bit of a, maybe it's that one with the word terror in it.
Okay, I get to say on this one, the one that I did not like, and I still have PTSD from it. At the Performance Center, there was an element where there's a series of steps, and they're really steep steps. And then you go over those steps from standing with nothing. You go up the steps, across a concrete culvert, around up a hill, and then I don't know what happened after that because I did not even get past the steps. I actually, because we had not trained for it and I had certainly not expected it, I gave it too much gas and I ended up with the bike landing on top of me. So I have PTSD from that. But because of that, we actually built steps at the farm so I could practice.
Right? So that's not
They were on one of those
PTSD.
slides. Yeah.
Those steps were in a previous slide.
Yep, those steps. And that's, it's an interesting question. I think people talked about the obstacles on the farm. Without Sherry has kind of this crazy, skill set to do anything, drive a tractor, engineer these steps. It takes a lot, you got to have rebar and supplies, and you got to really know what you're doing to make these obstacles. So we're just fortunate that, we kind of had a unique skill set of people. I can just, carry things and I don't know, not do much, but Sherry's brain is what kind of put together a lot of those obstacles. Steph and Chris kind of know the obstacles they want built, and then Sherry can make that come to life.
Right.
Awesome.
But it was,
That's awesome.
in the winter with snow and, we're out there building these crazy obstacles and moving rocks around and moving heavy stuff all day, every day. It's hilarious what these 4 old ladies have managed to
That's
build.
awesome. No, it's a testament. It's a testament to your friendship and the ability for you guys to work together, how much you've accomplished in such a short time. If you guys, we'll put it up at the end, the Instagram links for the farm and Facebook links for the farm, and you can see what they're doing. It's incredible what they do there. Is there anybody else that has an obstacle besides Chris's the stairs? Is there anything else that really gets you? Or you guys all hate the stairs?
I think there was a spiral of death, and I think with women and men, I don't think there was maybe one person that cleaned that, and it was a very steep pavers where you had to slalom up and then go on this very steep off camber, and that was like, that was maddening to me. So we've tried to build some steep off camber elements into our training.
Nice. How about you, Steph? Is there any one obstacle that you really you've been training for, getting ready for, like ready to take it on, that's been maybe a thorn in your side?
Oh gosh, there's so much that we train for. I'd say the one that we train on the most is the garage, because it's guaranteed to be part of the qualifier. And we have progressively made our garage shorter and shorter so that we get to the dimensions that we think they're going to use. And it's amazing how many skill sets sorry, doggy drama.
No worries.
Skill sets go into that obstacle. It doesn't seem like much, just doing, left U-turn, right U-turn, left U-turn, but you really put all your skills to the test for slow speed riding there.
Yeah, I bet. So one of the cool things about it is, I know you guys are competing, but it's also like this incredible experience, isn't it? Like just this huge, like you're going to leave with like 20 new friends or however many women show up. Just how tight you'll become with these people that you're competing against. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, that we really mean it when we say, we're competitive. We'd love to win. We're going to fight for it. But it's really the journey and the people, and the result of, the GS Trophy Qualifier in 2022 is this friendship, and it means everything to us. We are inseparable. And so having a support group and what you gain by participating, just even participating and finding these friends and community, that is what it's all about.
One of the questions that's coming is would you guys prioritize certain training over others, like BMW off-road, or like retaking a level 2 training or a level 3 training, trying to get ready to do something like this? What would you guys recommend?
That's a hard question to answer.
I
There
know.
are so many
Mhm.
good
Yeah,
trainers
so
out there,
much.
and
Mm-hmm.
we have worked with all of them, and we've gotten just little gold nuggets from every one of them, little tidbits that really help us. And people present things in a different way, and what one trainer says might not speak to you, but the next trainer might say the exact same thing in a little different way, and it kind of clicks for you. Like Shal, for instance, she worked with us one day on some tight maneuvers, and she said, when you're making those tight turns, it's not only your head and eyes that you need, but you need to keep that chin up. And so whenever I'm riding, I think of Shal, keep your chin up. So there's so many good trainers, and quite a few of them we have here at the farm. It's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just
that's
have to
fair.
get
I
started.
love training.
The one critical thing is ensure that you join or participate with a reputable trainer. Do not take someone's word for it. Hey, I'm a great trainer. Vet them. Make sure they're professionals, because a bad trainer can ruin you. A bad trainer
Absolutely.
almost ruined me, and
Yep.
this almost never happened in the beginning of my training journey on dirt.
Can you
So,
tell us a little bit about that story, Sherry? It really is inspiring.
yeah, sure. So, when we fell upon, this dual sport and dirt riding, I had never done it or heard of it. And I thought it sounded fun and interesting. So I, went out and bought a dual sport bike, not knowing what I was doing. And I started doing research. Like I knew I needed training, and Leslie was with me on this. And I, found this trainer on Facebook, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll teach you. I'm a beginner trainer, dirt, the whole 9 yards. And we went to the first day of training, and it was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. I am a confident person. I'm not fearful of much of anything. By the end of that day, I was fearful. I was afraid of my bike. And he talked more about himself and his experience than actually starting with the basics. So it was supposed to be a 2-day training. We actually didn't go to the second day. We said, no way, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for
Mm-hmm.
us. Ran into, we had met Candy Spangler. We had talked to Candy Spangler, are you doing any beginner level 1 training?
Mm-hmm.
And we said, we're going to go to her class. If it's the same thing, that's it. We're out selling the bikes. This is not for us. So we went to Candy's level 1 training. It was completely different. Started with the basics, worked on the things that needed to be worked on. On the second day of Candy's training, she put me on her 1250 GS, and the rest is history.
Right.
It just started the journey in the right way. So
Right.
you can be ruined by a bad trainer.
You can. And I love the fact that you didn't give up. And I think that's one of the things about the farm. You guys really do vet your trainers, and we try to do the same thing at SheADV, is just try to vet the trainers so that you do have a really exceptional experience. So it's awesome that you guys are doing that. One of the other questions that we got is when training's got you down, when you're just like, oh, I can't get this, or you're getting frustrated with something, what do you do to kind of get motivated or kind of get yourself around that?
Sherry has really helped me. Sherry is very good with like sport psychology and the mental side of training. And so one of the things I've learned is that you kind of have to go with the flow. There's going to be days that are just tough, and your writing is just off, and you feel like things are just not clicking. And I had this exact experience when we were training 2 years ago. We did a day with someone who did like motorcycle cone drills on pavement. And I was really, really struggling, and it just felt like nothing was coming together, and my bike was falling, and I was falling, and I was just kind of beaten up. And about a week after that, everything just kind of clicked. And it was like this magical moment where like all the skills just kind of came together. So even when you have those down days and you're working towards something, you have to trust the process. You have to know that if you keep at it, you will get it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, that commitment to just being consistent, good days, bad days, the better days will come, right? The better days will come.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I do want to remind everybody that I'm hoping that these ladies will join us again, that you will be back after you come home from Germany and have time to, you know, kind of download. But we are all really, really looking forward to hearing all about how your adventure has gone. And I know that speaking for everybody in the SheADV community, no matter what, you know, win, lose, or draw, you guys have all already won. You've already won. You know, we're just the fact that you're getting on that plane and you're going to put a foot down in Germany. You've won. Great job. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. I know that the chat has been pretty busy, and I know you guys have been pretty awesome about kind of answering things in the chat. So I'm just trying to look through to make sure. There was a question about off season, you know, when you guys are taking a break, especially since all three of you and maybe four of you are going to go to Romania and compete. What are you going to do for the off season? How are you going to manage that?
Ride.
Yeah.
Rides.
We will ride somewhere else. If it's snowing in Colorado, we'll go somewhere else. We have a big fifth wheel that we managed to put all our bikes in, and then we have a extra truck and trailer. So yeah, have bikes, we'll travel, and
That's perfect.
that's the plan. I mean,
That is
life
so
is an adventure best done on two wheels.
well said, Chris. Well said. Well, this whole presentation will be on YouTube. I know we can watch your adventure on your Instagram page as well as your Facebook page. I know it's going to be tricky while you're there, but I'm hoping we'll get a couple of little updates from you guys about how you're doing, how it's going. You know, your wins, your losses. We'll cheer for you in your helmets. We'll cry for you. We'll boo whoever's mean to you. You know, we've got you here. We're really excited for all of you. Lastly, one last shameless plug to join the SheADV supporter program. Our heat map is very active. I know I'm on it. I will gladly bunk a biker for the night. We're in Connecticut, and I'm pretty sure most other people are like that. I have your Instagram handle, your email, easy ways to, whatever way you're comfortable having people contact you to just reach out and find other riders. We also have industry discounts, as well as the virtual coaching sessions are at a discounted rate for our supporters. And again, every one of those dollars, they go right back into this community. They go right back into Zoom, right back into socials, right back into like bringing you awesome trainers and awesome stuff to just make your life more awesome. So SheADV, it's all about awesomeness. So donate, become a supporter, volunteer, follow, like, share. Join us on our Facebook community page. It's also a super active page, and a lot of these ladies are in there as well. And you can probably, pick their brains in there as well. So I hope you guys all have an amazing night, and we will see you at the next SheADV Trailside in December.